Hi, I'm Chris McCord, Professor of Philosophy at Kirkwood Community College, and this is the review for Exam 2. So, at this time of year, it's just kind of hard to care anymore, right? But if you can just hang in there for this one more time, like that song, one more time. Are those the only lyrics for that song? I think that might be right. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Okay, I'm looking at the review, Unit 11, Review for Exam 2. Clearly, completely, and fully explain the ontological argument. Yeah, you want to know the ontological argument and the perfect island objection. Be familiar with those so you're not going into the test cold on those. Be able to identify the following people roughly when they lived and specifically what each has done. Thoreau, Martin Luther King, Kumi Nadu, James Hansen. Well, that was in that Civil Disobedience unit video, Socrates and Civil Disobedience. What is the argument Crito makes to Socrates in favor of breaking the law? Is it argument by example or analogy? Well, it's example. He gives a bunch of different reasons. So be able to write that out. What is the argument by analogy objection to Crito's idea that he should worry about what the many think that Socrates gives? We'll be able to write that argument. Remember, that's the one that has to do with health. You admit that doctors are medical experts, and it goes from there. All this you can find in the units on the videos. What is the argument that the laws, really Socrates' argument to Crito, give that Socrates should not break the law in free prison? Is it by example or analogy? That's going to be another argument by example, and be able to fully write out each point. After viewing the Martin Luther King video, consider whether Socrates would agree or disagree with King. Well, that's just something to think about. Either you think, well, they obviously disagree because of Socrates' position that you should never break the law, or there might be some weird way that you think they agree. Next one's an opinion question, your own view. So, with shampoo, I endorse, that's Pantene. What is Protagoras' view about the nature of beauty? What is Plato's view? Remember, it's Protagoras who's the ethical relativist. Plato's the realist. So Protagoras is a longer word, and he is the ethical relativist. That's a longer word. Plato's the shorter name, and he is a realist. That's the shorter word. Plato's the guy who believes in the forms, you just don't get it confused. Sometimes people confuse those two characters. What are the forms? What are their characteristics? Well, there's a video on the forms, but remember, those are the essences in which particular objects participate. Definition of ethical relativism, the judging others objection, the moral improvement objection. I happen to know you guys wrote really well on that because I saw what you wrote. But look it back up if you need to, and you can find it elsewhere, but it is in my video. Be able to explain and discuss the example of the quacky oodle. That's in that video that I put about ethical relativism too. Epistemology is the study of knowledge. Skeptical arguments are arguments to show that we don't know something that people commonly assume that we do know. The dream argument, Descartes' not a skeptic. He just puts on the skeptic's hat to show that there's a real problem. The argument from illusion, the dream argument, the mouse brain in the vat version of that, the evil demon argument, I think therefore I am, the trademark argument for God's existence, the divine guarantee argument, all of those, that upside down triangle that represents the whirlpool that sucks Descartes down from having knowledge, that's what that's about. So you want to know the steps in Descartes' argument. And that's all in the unit on Descartes. You may have to go back to René's Funland again to find out some of this, but that's worst case situation. Or find it somewhere else. Does he succeed in saving the sciences? That's another kind of opinion question. Dualism is like twoism. It's believing that there's physical stuff, but there's also a spiritual, non-physical consciousness that does the thinking, separate from the brain. See, it's not the brain that does the thinking. What does the body always do? It takes up space. What is the essential property of mind? It thinks. Hobbes is a materialist. He thinks that everything's physical. Even your thoughts are physical. What's the view of materialism? Well, everything's physical. Mind, body are both physical. So really the mind or consciousness to Hobbes just is the brain. What does materialism say happens if your brain ceases to function? That's it. That's the end of you. You're not going to survive your bodily death if you're a materialist, if materialism is true. You couldn't keep thinking after your brain ceases to function, according to materialism. Descartes thinks the non-physical soul touches a part of your brain and allows you to wish something. You wish your hand goes up, and your hand goes up. I want to raise my hand. I raise my hand. How does that happen? Mind-body interaction. The mind-body problem is, how does something not physical rub up against something physical? All that's in the videos. Leibniz's solution, Berkeley's, go back and look at the videos. That's what I'll say on that. So how do they solve the mind-body problem? Explain the Turing test. If a robot passes it, what does Turing think it shows? Well, it's that the robot's conscious, he thinks. Explain Searle's Chinese room thought experiment. What does Searle think that shows? Well, I'm just going to tell you. Why am I talking so much? It's like, but anyway, the Searle thinks that what it shows is that no matter how well a robot responds to human questions and interacts with a human, verbally, let's say, that doesn't prove it's really conscious in the way we are. What is Descartes' view on consciousness of animals? Do you agree with him? Well, that's in the video on Mind Body, the one that has Lucy in it, one of those videos. Be ready to describe your interactions with Kooky. I don't think this is so bad if you get the big parts for this test are knowing about Socrates, knowing about Plato, knowing about Descartes. And I think that's a wrap for now, but you look over these. Don't be cold on any of these. Each of these questions, you should have something ready to answer, I would say, before you take the test. If it were me, that's how I would do it.